Good morning or afternoon, everybody. We'll be starting in a few minutes. I just wanted to check the sound and visual. If anybody can just shoot me a quick little note where it says chat and let me know that you can hear this and that you are looking at the slide that says building your business cancer exercise. I would greatly appreciate it. Hey everybody, this is just a sound check. Can you guys hear me? Can somebody shoot me a note under the chat? You're not going to continue to see me. You will just see the PowerPoint slide presentation, but I want to make sure that the volume is okay and that you guys can hear me okay. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, happy hump day, everybody. Thank you for taking time away from your busy schedule to join us for the Building Your Business webinar for cancer exercise specialists. And some of you have currently gone through the course, or I should say have completed the course, while others of you are currently going through it. And this may be a little bit premature, but it will hopefully motivate and inspire you and get you excited to give back to the community while increasing your business and building your clientele. I have not seen anybody write to me in the chat box as to whether or not you can hear me. So if somebody can take a second and do that, I would really appreciate it. Otherwise, I have no idea if you guys are getting clarity with this. So feel free also to write any questions that you have, and I will answer them at the end of the webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. It's really important to understand that as a cancer exercise specialist, we are all part of this growing team of professionals. And I think that not everybody understands the magnitude of this. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics actually estimates that the number of personal trainers will hit 338,000 this year. And that's based on population growth, as well as an increasing interest in health and fitness. So you have to ask yourself, what sets you apart? How do you fit into this huge umbrella of what we call the fitness profession? Certain things to look for are a college degree. And in that category, do you have a BS? Do you have a master's? Do you have a PhD? Are you a physical therapist or an occupational therapist? And I'm talking on top of, whatever you're doing in the fitness industry. You can be a cancer exercise specialist and also be a doctor of physical therapy. Maybe you're a licensed massage therapist, nutritionist, dietitian, personal trainer certifications, and specialty certifications. So what do you have in your arsenal, and what can you add to make yourself more in demand? And I think the cancer exercise specialist is huge, because not only is it something that's unique and not that many people by and large have it, there is a growing need as we have this aging population, many of whom will have cancer at some point. We know that every other person is going to get cancer at some point in their lifetime. Okay, I think my slides are stuck here, guys. Hang on a second. Not sure what's going on. There we go. Okay, then the next question I have for you is, what type of trainer do you want to be? I know that on the left we're looking at a boxing ring and not necessarily a personal trainer, but I thought it was pretty funny because, so many of the trainers are out there like, come on, you can do another rep. And those are a dime a dozen, and there's a place for that, and that's awesome. When you're working with 20-year-olds or when you're working with athletes and you need to push them to the extreme. But on the other side, we see this picture of a medical setting, and you have the very professional looking trainer, working with a little bit older of a client. And there is not really a place in the medical exercise setting for what we see here on the left. And I think that stands to reason. But when we are dealing with people who have osteoporosis, diabetes, they have damage to the heart and lungs, they are really low functioning from cancer treatment, obviously, not only do we need to know what to do in any given situation and how to modify things, but obviously we're not going to work the person to that level of intensity. So how do we create the image, illusion, or reality of you being the local expert? Well, that's what I am here to help you do. And we started by getting you the education and having you go through the cancer exercise specialist modules, reading the 500 pages, watching the videos. And for those of you who have not seen the email go out, I have a 4-part webinar series starting October 20th. It'll be every other Saturday for 4 weeks, and it will be the entire cancer exercise specialist course. So it's going to be the next best thing to being in a live workshop. For those of you who want to be able to ask questions, I will be teaching it personally, and I think it's the icing on the cake, even for those of you who have already received your title as a cancer exercise specialist. It's going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to leading that group. What you see in this slide, first off in the upper corner, is how I was able to position myself in this particular case with the American Council on Exercise, and to utilize that partnership as a platform from which to create, in this particular case, a press release. Sorry, that word was slipping my mind. And in the backs of your cancer exercise specialist handbooks, whether you have the download or the real handbook in your hands, there is a press release example, and you can just structure it to represent you, your story. I know there are several of you in the group who are going through cancer treatment currently, who have just finished, or maybe you finished a year ago, and this is where you get to create your story. I think it's much more appealing to a potential client when they know that you've been through a similar situation, or and that doesn't mean that you have to have cancer to work with cancer patients by any means, but whether it's a family member, whether you've worked with a friend who's gone through it, it helps you to empathize. And that's one way to approach it. Maybe you have experience working at the local Y in the Live Strong program. Maybe you created some other cancer program. This is where you get to highlight yourself, and we can network together as the Cancer Exercise Training Institute and yourself. If you guys have not emailed me requesting the little logo button that says Cancer Exercise Training Institute, Cancer Exercise Specialist, please do so, because that's something you can use in all of your marketing. You can email me at CETI, all capital letters, the acronym for Cancer Exercise Training Institute, CETI Guru, GURU, at gmail.com. And I will get that right over to you today so you can begin using that. Then if you look here to the center, I'm on Daytime Columbus, and this was a gig I did with the BOSU, with Headstrom Fitness, and we were doing the pink BOSU exercises for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Well, you guys, now is the time. Breast Cancer Awareness Month starts in a couple weeks. You want to capitalize on this opportunity to get free publicity. The local news stations are looking for you. They are looking for stories. So who do you know that either works at a local news station or a newspaper or even a radio station, or who do you know who knows someone who does? Get them to get you 2 minutes to speak with somebody and give your pitch. So you might get on and do 5 minutes of exercises to help prevent upper extremity lymphedema for breast cancer patients or survivors. It could be exercises to help increase range of motion, exercises to help improve functional fitness. You name it, you create the platform. And TV is live. So if for those of you who are as old as me, if you remember the Brady Bunch, when Marsha Brady froze staring at the red light of the video camera, and whoever, her dad said, imagine the audience in their underwear. You may have to do the same thing if you're not quite used to appearing on live TV. Then in the upper right, you see a clip here from a magazine article in Club Industry highlighting the exercise programming and our program through Cancer Exercise Training Institute. Realize that it's harder to get into magazines, and obviously it always helps to know somebody, but you still want to keep pitching it. And I am always open to doing stories with any of you. So if you want to do a local story and quote me or ask me for advice, happy to do so. You can email me or call or text anytime. The phone number here is 503-502-6776. So I'm going to pause for a second again, and I just want to make sure you guys are seeing things and hearing things clearly. I haven't heard from anybody that you are not, but I also haven't heard from anybody if you can hear this presentation. So you should be able to see a little area that says chat, and you can send me a message saying, yeah, Andrea, I hear you, and that would be greatly appreciated. Let's move down here. We went a little too fast there. To the lower left-hand corner, and just another opportunity online to be presented through various associations that I have. And you guys have so much at your disposal. When I started this in 1995, the internet was just coming into being. There was no Facebook, there were no emails, there was nothing. And I was one of the first of 3 people in the country to begin research on cancer and exercise. So back then we had to write a book, and I spent 3 years working on the first book that I wrote, which now, and I'll share with you a little bit later on how I'm going to help you become a published author and gain that same notoriety without actually having to do the work. I will let you work off of my coattails, as they say. Okay, so really important, everybody, and I can't emphasize this enough, that you have a professional presentation. you know, there are so many trainers out there that are self-printing their business cards, and while that's admirable, and you're probably thinking that you can save money, if you add up the cost of your ink and, you know, the trifold uh, paper or the business card punch outs that you get from Office Depot or Staples, it actually ends up costing you more. So I do all of my printing through Vistaprint. I'm not getting paid to do this advertisement, so you can certainly look up other printers, but you can get 500 or 1,000 business cards for $100 or less in some cases, because very often they have specials and you can get 40% off. So it's all timing. I suggest that you create a brochure, and a trifold brochure that highlights the benefits of exercise in preventing cancer, the benefits of exercise during cancer treatment, and the benefits of exercise for cancer recovery is fantastic. And then, of course, you know, you have a page about you and contact information, and you can pull that out of your cancer exercise specialist handbook. There are a couple pages in the book that actually lay out exactly what are the benefits of exercise in preventing cancer and during treatment, so on and so forth, and just create some bullet points, and it makes for a beautiful presentation. When you're doing it on something like Vistaprint, it'll give you some options for photos, but using your own rather than, you know, prefabricated ones or clip art is always better. Personalize it. So as far as business cards, do not use the self-printed business cards that you can see the little punched out sides. People will judge you. And I will never forget that when I was a new trainer in 1992, Washington, D.C., and I was following a more seasoned trainer. And he told me, this is in 1992, that he made, I think, $100 an hour. And I was like, holy cow, we were making 45 at the Y. How do you get paid that? And he says, very simple. I tell people, don't drive into a VW dealership and expect to drive out in a Porsche. What does that mean to you? What that means to me is, you know, don't expect to pay $5 and get the best trainer. You're not going to. So as far as validating your cost, but people will also judge you based on the car you pull up in. If you're driving a VW Bug from 1966 versus the trainer who pulls up in a brand new Mercedes, people will automatically assume that the trainer in the Mercedes is better because they must be more successful. And that is terribly unfair and often untrue, but that is what people look at. So I'm not suggesting you go out and buy a Mercedes. What I am suggesting, though, is that you get professionally made brochures and business cards so that you can present yourself as an expert, as a professional, as a successful professional. And then lastly on our list is prescription pads. And I utilize these, and I have my logo at the top. And then it'll say, you want to make it really simple for the medical professional to just, you know, check it off. So there's a little box and it'll say increased range of motion, then another little box and it'll say correct muscle imbalances, another little box, lymphatic drainage, another little box, assisted stretching, and then signature of the physician. And a lot of doctors like the ease of that versus having to search for your business cards and explain to their patient who you are. So it's a really great little investment. And then you can use that when you go and meet with the doctors. It's something that you can leave with them. Not only is it efficient as far as them being able to utilize it for patient referrals, but also it's something that they're seeing sitting on their desk that's a constant reminder of you. And that's what we want to do. In order to get notoriety, you have to be in somebody's face, so to speak, all the time, as often as possible. You guys see me posting on social media constantly. That's how you build your audience. I have, I don't know, 4,500 people on Facebook, 23,000 people on LinkedIn, 15,000 people on Twitter. My Instagram is maybe 1,500. I guess I'm not as good at that. but these are the things that you guys want to start doing to get exposure. So I had mentioned TV. Now is the perfect time to start approaching the local TV stations. I mean, certainly aim high, aim for Good Morning America or Ellen or whatever, but I think it would serve you better to start with local stations and local newspapers. They are hungry for stories, and particularly if there's nothing going on in the world, which I wish that were the case, they're looking for something to fill the time. But also, they want human interest stories. People are tired of hearing about politics and death and war and all of the other garbage going on. They want to hear something uplifting and positive. So for those of you who are conquering cancer yourself, you know who you are as I speak to you. And I could not be more proud to have you on this team. I am proud to have everybody as a part of it, but I know the personal struggles that you guys have gone through to get to this point, and that deserves recognition. Radio is great because it doesn't matter if your hair's a mess or if you have anxiety about being, in front of a camera when that little light goes on. I think radio's a little bit kinder in that respect. But I think there's something to be said for the visual as well. So whenever possible, if I can get on TV, I'm going to jump at that chance. Newspaper, I've done many newspaper interviews, articles, and the beauty of that is that you don't have to be there in person. So you can do the New York Times or the Dallas Times or the Washington Post, the Oregonian. There's no limit. So simply get on the internet and Google the contact for the press department or newsroom or whatever they want to call it, and send out that press release that you craft. Magazines, they're usually going to want you to give a pretty solid pitch about the content. And the same thing applies. You're highly unlikely to get in a very well-published magazine, but start with some of the smaller local ones. Now, if you have connections, and I can't say this or emphasize this enough, think about your 6 degrees of separation and start making a list of everyone you know. Who do they know that is a connection for you? Meaning, they're in the media, they're in the press, they have money to donate, whatever it is you're looking for. Or who are their doctors? Do they have a primary care doctor? Do they have an oncologist? Do they have a surgeon? Do they have a reconstructive surgeon? All of those people are contacts for you and ways that you can make an introduction as opposed to a cold call. Because when I moved from Washington, D.C. to Portland, Oregon, I sent out, and don't ask me how I remember this, but there were 240 letters that I sent. I was a published author on cancer and exercise. And I sent them introducing myself to oncologists in the Portland area, saying that I was relocating. Out of those 240 letters, I got 2 phone calls. And out of those 2 phone calls, I don't think anything ever came of it. And it's because they didn't know, like, or trust me. You guys have to build a relationship. And that can be through social media. Many of you I have never even spoken to, but hopefully you feel as if we have some sort of connection because you've seen into my life. You've seen me wear my heart on my sleeve. And perhaps I've seen you as well. And that's how we start to create a relationship. It is not made overnight. So you want to try and take the easy route and start with people you know, but you can start to gather other people into your circle. And somebody put it to me really in a very understandable way. You want to build a community. So think about this. You have just bought this huge plot of land, and you are going to offer plots to, subdivisions to individuals who are looking to establish a new residency. You're going to give them the land. You're even going to build them a house, and you're going to create this relationship of trust and friendship. And then as time goes on, you say, I'm sure you'll understand, but next month I'm going to have to start charging you for utilities. And then another month goes by and, all right, well, we're opening up the local grocery store and you're going to have to start buying your own food now, and so on and so forth. So once you've established this relationship and people see that you're not just taking, but you're also giving, and giving could simply mean in the form of an article, in the form of, social media publications, or I was going to say blogs, excuse me. These are all ways of giving back and giving a piece of yourself. And that's what builds community. That's what builds that know, like, and trust factor that you must have. And then lastly, under free exposure, we have trade publications like your Idea Fitness Journal. I believe ACE has one, NASM has one. I think every organization has a trade journal. And those are great places to start. I will say for the last time, you've got perfect timing. When you get off of this webinar today, get online, start looking up these contacts and send out your press releases. Now, if you don't make it for this year's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, obviously it's not the end of the world. There will be many more. And just about every month is some cancer month, or World Cancer Day, or Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, I think is this month actually. So all of these are opportunities for you to reach out to the press and get some free publicity. Next, you got to think about what your spin is. And I kind of stated this earlier. You've got to have a personal story. Now, your personal story doesn't mean that you have had to have cancer. And I hope that you don't. And, that's certainly not a prerequisite. But maybe it's a good friend of yours who you saw go through cancer treatment and it really tugged at your heartstrings and you wanted to help others like them. Maybe you just, have this humanitarian part of you that wants to help people for no particular reason, and you've chosen cancer, and that's awesome. Maybe it was your grandparent or whatever, but you've got to have something to base a story on. So, spend some time thinking about it. Think about what sets you apart from everybody else. And, I'm sure you guys have heard my story over and over again, but it started when I was 15 and my mom was first diagnosed with breast cancer. 3 years later, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer and, went through my own issues. And then many years later, my mom was diagnosed with another breast cancer, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to bore you with the Andrea Leonard story, but it is on the website at thecancerspecialist.com if you want to read about it and maybe just get some ideas for yourself. That I find is a very good way to create your own content sometimes, is just to look at others and, let them lead by example. So almost free exposure. That means there's very little investment on your part. Lunch and Learns. This is a great opportunity for you to get in and actually meet people one-on-one in person. Reaching out to a doctor's office, for example, best contact is going to be the office manager or the patient navigator. Very unlikely you will get on the phone with the doctor. And if you do, the doctor's going to tell you to talk with their person who does the scheduling. So offer to come in for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And obviously this would have to be to a breast cancer doctor. And spend 15 minutes talking about exercises for breast cancer recovery, lymphatic drainage, and how you can help their patients, or even giving them a handout that they can share with their patients. Or for those of you who have seen in the handbook, the lymphedema prevention kit, where you've got a little nylon zipper bag with bandages and bacitracin and antibacterial wipes in there with your logo, and then on one side you have the 5 ways to prevent lymphedema. So this is a great marketing tool. It has fantastic shelf life because it's something that people need, and that's the most important thing, because if somebody doesn't need it, therefore it has no shelf life, and you've just wasted your money. So you go into the lunch and learn, you want to have something that you can leave them with, whether it's a business card or a brochure, or maybe it's the lymphedema prevention kits. You could bring bagels and coffee, you can bring sandwiches, or what I like to do even better, you know, I have some great highly nutritious protein shakes that I use that are very low in alkalinity. So we want to have a really, sorry, my dog keeps pushing my hand away from the keyboard here. She's driving me crazy. We want to have nutritious products that are also, if we're talking about cancer, you know, we need to stand behind whatever it is we're bringing them. So, you know, bringing them carved up bagels and stuff doesn't necessarily vie really well. I'd rather give them a really nutritious protein shake. So I'll actually bring my blender and some shake mix and make different flavors and samples. And they have fun with that too, because it's kind of like a little tasting. You know, we'll have the peach mango and the chocolate peanut butter and whatever. So I'm happy to talk to you more about that too, rather than go into too much detail here. There are also support groups, and support groups, you've got every gender, every nationality, every race, every type of cancer. They're all over the place. You can Google them in your area. And the same thing, go in, you know, or not go in, but talk to the person who leads the group. Ask them if you can come in and give a 10-minute talk about lymphatic drainage for prostate cancer patients. I'm just giving you different topics to talk about. And when you go there, you know, you've got 10 minutes to make an impact. And once again, you want to leave them with something to remember you by. And they may not call you right away. You may get a call a year later. You'd be surprised. But people hang on to your card, and they will even more so hang on to something of value like the lymphedema prevention kit. There are lots of events, things like the Race for the Cure or ID World, or you know, and any other conventions or races that you can attend, that they'll let you do a warm-up, do a 10-minute intro on your course content or your class choreography or whatever you want to call it. But people love that. It's just a matter of making the context to whoever leads that group. And then also at the event, you know, you want to try and get some bit of information in their swag bags that they hand out, so that people have something to take home and remember you by. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. It could be a flyer with, you know, the top 5 exercises for breast cancer recovery. And I have provided all of these things to you, and they're in blogs. And if you want resources, just let me know, and I'm happy to steer you in the right direction and make that easier, rather than having you reinvent the wheel. Use what I've already created. That is the purpose. That's why I share it with you. So I mentioned earlier 6 degrees of separation, but I'm gonna steer this around to medical referrals now, because I was talking about getting publicity. So just going and knocking on doctors' doors is not very effective, and they're busy. They don't know you from a hole in the wall. They certainly don't know, like, and trust you. So that's why I suggest you start with, you know, who's my mom's doctor, who's her surgeon, who's Uncle Joe's cancer surgeon, who's his nutritionist, who's his physical therapist. It doesn't have to just be medical doctors. It can be a naturopathic doctor, a licensed massage therapist, you know, a physiotherapist, a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, you name it, lymphatic drainage therapist, speech therapist. These are all people that you can network with, and you should. You know, share with them what you do. That is how you are going to become larger than life. You know, I've been doing this now for 23 years. And it has not been an easy ride, because I started this at a time when no one was doing it. I want to help you guys just make a beeline for whatever your goal is. And that is why I'm doing this business coaching, not only this webinar, but individual business coaching, because it saves you the time and the money, both from the time you wasted and the money you've spent on things that were ineffective. and you get results quicker. It's, everything, and trust me, I've tried to do things the cheap way, the easy way, do it on myself. I've blown up my website a number of times because I tried to figure out how to do it so I wouldn't have to pay a web person. It's all fine and dandy until you end up spending twice as much money to pay somebody else to fix it. So trust me when I tell you this. So basically, what you want to do is kind of use reverse psychology. And one of the ways to approach medical professionals, if you are doing a cold call, is say, "Hi, I'm Andrea Leonard. I am a cancer exercise specialist, and I live, 2 miles away from your office. And I have patients, or I have clients. We can't say the word patients. I have clients that are asking me all the time if I know a good naturopathic doctor. And I'd really love to learn more about your practice so that I can refer them with confidence to you." And this is a really great way to approach somebody, because by starting off in a way, you're complimenting them, you're praising them, you're showing interest in them. They are going to be more inclined to then turn around and say, "Well, tell me about what you do." So this is kind of a new way of doing things, and it's fantastic. A lot easier to do if you're doing cold calls than if you go in, "Hi, I'm Andrea. Will you please give me referrals? Here's my cards." 9 times out of 10, you will never hear, maybe 9.9 times out of 10, you will never hear from anybody from that doctor. And then lastly, client testimonials. So if you are working with anybody right now who has cancer, first off, I would get in contact with their doctor, let them know that you want to send their doctor their updated results. And also in the back of your handbooks, I can't remember which one, I want to say it's in 3 or 4, is a personal assessment form. And you can fill that out along with the introductory letter to the doctor. "Hi, I'm Andrea Leonard. I'm working with your client, Susan Mendoza, and I just wanted to let you know these are my findings." And then you give them that assessment sheet and say, "My goal for the next 2 months is going to be to improve range of motion, inflection and extension, which appear to be limited on the affected side, and also help to correct muscle imbalances that may be leading to her chronic back pain." I'm just giving you kind of an example script. And then send them your business card. And then 8 weeks later, do a reevaluation and send it again and send it again. And keep that guerrilla marketing going, constantly putting yourself in front of their face. And your client going back and telling them, and trust me, they will, "Oh my God, I have never felt so good. Andrea is the best thing since sliced bread. Look, I can move my arm again. My back doesn't hurt." That is when the doctor's going to go, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, I think she sent me a letter. Let me look and see if I can find her business card. I think this will be great for my other patients." And then, of course, your client will tell you that this transpired, and you can, at that point, reach out to the doctor and say, "Hey, my client let me know that she spoke with you about my work with her, and I wanted to reach out personally. I have sent you some letters, updating you on her health, but I'd love to come in and talk to you and tell you a little bit more about how I might be able to help your patients and also learn more about your practice." So hopefully that gives you some idea as to some ways to approach the medical professionals. It is not easy all the time. Some happens a lot more organically than others, but don't get frustrated, because all you need is one good doctor, one good therapist who sends you their clients on a regular basis. Because the reality is, if you're training somebody twice a week, then you've got room for about 20 people. And that's not hard to accomplish when you position yourself in the right way. I love this little smiley face. I remember being a kid and having this on a t-shirt, and I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And it's still, it withstands time and aging. Everybody knows the happy face, right? Just like the stop sign. It's bright, it's yellow, it's happy feeling. And as simple as that sounds, that's all you need. You don't need fancy things. You just have to create the relationship where they know, like, and trust you. And people will see right through you if you are insincere, if you are all about money and you don't really care about the people. They know it. They know it right away. And I know I'm not talking to to dumb people or selfish people here. Those of you who have gone through the trouble of taking this course or are taking the course or working with patients, it takes a very special person to work with this population. And, I applaud all of you. And we kind of weed ourselves out because it's not for everybody. Sometimes it can be very emotionally draining, and other times, and more often than not, it is the most rewarding thing I can personally say I have ever done. All right, so marketing tools. I mentioned to you the lymphedema prevention kit. This is a picture of what it would look like. So you guys, when we're done, you can Google marketing tools, marketing products, price them out. These little packets shouldn't cost you more than $3. It's really going to depend how many you order, of course, and the quality. But this doesn't have to be a Louis Vuitton, guys. You also want to fill them with product yourselves, because if you buy them pre-filled, if you're even able to find that, it's going to cost you a fortune. So my suggestion on the one side is your logo, and on the other side is however many you can fit. Let's say 5 ways to prevent lymphedema, and look in your books at the lymphedema section, and you will see the page or two that says how to prevent lymphedema, and then it goes on and on about avoid burns, avoid bug bites. If you get a cut, scratch, or burn, clean it with an antibacterial, cover it with bacitracin and a bandage, look for signs of redness and swelling. So you choose what you want to put on there. And the beauty of these is that if you give 10 of these to a doctor and say, I would love for you to give these to any of your clients who are at risk for lymphedema, there's no reason that they wouldn't. This is something of value, okay? So that is why this is my favorite thing that I'm going to highlight. T-shirts are great. Now we're getting into a little more expense because you have to pay for the screen, like the silk screen or whatever you call it, to be set up. Then you have to pay per color. And of course, if you haven't had a logo made, then you've got that as well. But a lot of things you can trade for. If you know a graphic artist and you ask them to create a logo for you, and you trade them a certain number of sessions. So that's one beautiful thing about being a trainer. T-shirts may not have the same impact. A doctor's probably not going to hand out your T-shirts, but a T-shirt might be a nice gift for your client that they can wear. Maybe after a month of working with you, they get a T-shirt, and that's free advertising for you guys. So that $5 that you pay for the shirt, think how many people are seeing your client wearing that going, oh, wow, what's the Cancer Exercise Training Institute? Or, what's a cancer exercise specialist, or, whatever. Calendars are limited to 12 months, but they are great. If you have a pretty calendar, and I say pretty because, if it's something like with snakes on it, like here are my 12 favorite snakes, January through December, I'm throwing that in the trash real quick, or the recycle bin. But if it's like beautiful snow-covered mountains, I'm down. It's going to get hung up on my wall. And then, in the bottom corner is your lovely picture and, whatever little blurb about you. Call me when you're ready to take the next steps to improving your health and fitness. So for 12 months, if somebody, and this is why real estate agents do this, if somebody's looking for a house during that 12-month period, if they don't have a real estate agent, they're going to go, oh yeah, here's John Doe on my refrigerator or whatever. I'm going to give him a call. So it's not my favorite idea, but it's certainly not bad. And it also makes a nice holiday gift, before the new year. So something to think about, maybe that and a T-shirt. Water bottles are lovely, but they are very expensive, especially for a decent one. We certainly don't want to be handing out water bottles with BPA when we're talking about cancer prevention. So if you have the money and you want to do a few of those selectively, again, maybe it's for a gift as opposed to just a freebie. Those are beautiful. And you could also put the 5 ways to prevent lymphedema on there, although it doesn't have quite the punch because you don't have the bandages and everything to go along with it, unless you want to put them in the water bottle. Pens and magnets, cheap, effective, not so much. Pens, we leave pens all over the place or people steal them. And how often do you actually read the pen that you're writing with? So for the pennies that it costs you, if that's all you can do, it's better than nothing. Magnets, on the other hand, kind of go back to calendars. If they're ugly, it's not going on my refrigerator. You know, and same thing with the handmade magnets where you take your business card and you put it on a sticky back magnet. You know, don't waste your time or your money because just people aren't going to use them. So think about what you're spending your money on and if it's worthwhile. What is the shelf life? So, you know, as I've just mentioned to you with each of these things, if it doesn't last, then the effectiveness of the marketing campaign is null because it doesn't exist anymore. So think about the products you're using. We spend so much money that we just waste because we think something's going to be a good idea. Well, I'm here to tell you, this is what works. This is what doesn't work. Don't waste your money. Ask yourself what your return on investment is. And maybe this isn't something you can calculate overnight. You know, maybe you look at it over the course of a year and say, okay, I spent $400 on 100 lymphedema prevention kits. And I gave them out to doctors. And as far as I know, they gave them all away. Of those 400 kits, it seems to me from the doctor referrals, I got 15 new clients. And of those 15 new clients, I took in, let's just say, $5,000. And then you say, all right, so it cost me $400 to make $5,000. Was that a good return on investment? And I'm just making this up as I go along. So, you know, more than likely off of those 15 clients, you would have made a lot more money. But the bottom line is, if what you're doing isn't effective, stop doing it. Just going to repeat to you guys, you are a silent group here today. I know you're here because I think at this point I would have been getting emails telling me that the webinar wasn't working, but I would love to hear from you. Who's in the audience? Where do you live? And feel free to ask me any questions. This is your time, guys. Let's talk about your net worth. How do we put a dollar value on ourselves? This is tough. I started as a trainer in 1992. I had ACE, I had NASM, I had Cooper Institute, I had whatever, I had everything. I had my degree. And back in the day, I was charging between $60 and $70 an hour back in the 90s. Okay, this is in Washington, D.C. Now, I'm not charging any more than that now because where I live in Portland, Oregon, people won't pay it. So, you know, it doesn't matter what I think I'm worth, which, you know, I mean, obviously my over the course of 20 something years, I should be making more money, if nothing else based on inflation, but people won't pay it. So you can think you're worth $100 an hour, but if nobody's going to pay you, it doesn't make any difference. You're going to be out of work. So what do you charge? You might be asking yourself, can you charge more for cancer patients? My suggestion to you is no. I mean, I think that's, I mean, in a way it's discrimination, but beyond that, it's just not fair. If that's what you're looking to do here is capitalize on people who are, you know, stricken with cancer, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. So a personal training session is a personal training session. A group exercise class is a group exercise class. The price should be the same for everybody. If anything, maybe you offer a sliding scale if somebody's going through treatment, if they have financial hardships. It's difficult, and sometimes it's hard to ask somebody for money when they're going through cancer treatment, which creates a whole other dilemma as far as ethics. But you are a professional. You deserve to get paid for your time. You need to get paid for your time. You have a family to take care of. And so be very professional and set up your guidelines. You know, I need to be paid up front. These are my methods of payment. We have a 24-hour cancellation policy. And you'll be automatically charged with cancellation less than that time. But also know, guys, that you're going to have clients who are going through chemo that may wake up and they can't even get out of bed, or they're vomiting or whatever. And you have to be able to give them a mulligan and say, you know, I'm not going to charge you. That's just, if you can't do that, then don't work with cancer patients during treatment, because that is going to happen. So think about, you know, what is the going rate in your area? And then you can certainly be on the higher end because not because you're working with cancer patients, but because you have credentials. That is the key. You have experience, you have great results. But the bottom line is, if you're charging something and you're not getting any clients, you may want to reconsider it. And maybe charge less, but do a shorter session. So maybe when somebody sees $35 for a half hour as opposed to $60 for an hour, they don't necessarily think, oh, I'm only getting a half hour workout. They might be going, cool, I only have to work out for a half hour, and $35 is much more affordable than 70 or 60. And in fact, you guys are making more money per hour by doing it that way. So keep that in mind. There are other strategies for making more money. So once you have completed your examination and you have been dubbed a cancer exercise specialist, you are listed on our cancer exercise specialist directory. You need to email me or our office manager at CETIguru@gmail.com, or you can email me at empowersurvivor@earthlink.net. We need your name, your email address, your phone number, your city, state, and zip code, and then any credentials you want listed, your degree, your certifications, even the fact that you're a cancer survivor. You let us know whatever you want on there. There's no limit there. So it doesn't just go up automatically, but send that off if you haven't already. Also, you have a free membership. Now, if you purchased this course through the American Council on Exercise, you did not get the free MFN membership. It was not included. But if you're interested in it, by all means, email us and we'll set you up. You want this membership. Not only will you have your directory listing on CETI, but you're going to have this nice page listing on MFN. Not to mention, you're going to get discounts with many of their providers on continuing education and workshops and webinars and all this other wonderful stuff. And you want to take advantage of that. I am actually presenting this weekend in San Francisco for any of you who are going to be there at the MedFit Tour. If you guys have never been to a MedFit Tour, look for one in your area. It's a great concept because you get to hear all of the speakers, kind of back to back with breaks, of course, but it's a different concept as opposed to the normal conference where you have to actually choose which people you want, which presentations you want to go to. So I love this. I'm really looking forward to that. And I'll be in Chicago next month. And then lastly, I want to help you to be the expert. So if you look on the Cancer Exercise Specialist website, so the cancerspecialist.com, actually, let me look and see what, I don't even remember what the title is, so you can look it up. I'm having to look this up on my phone here, guys, so bear with me. Okay, so you go to the home page, and then you are going to click on, hold on a second, resources, and you'll look for business development. And I am offering a limited number of hours a week for one-on-one coaching to help you create your own business and kind of streamline things. And also, this is so awesome to be able to share my books with you. Of course, they're kind of mini versions, and make you the own author. So you are the author. On the front cover, it's going to say written by Frank, I'm going to use your name, Frank McKenna, or John Friend, or, whoever. And it's going to be about the author. You're going to write that for me. That's going to get put in there. And you're going to take the pictures that, I'll show you the pictures that you need to do. And then you take them either with a client or yourself, and we put those all in. And then you publish that book, and you talk about a great marketing tool to hand out at events or for doctors. I mean, you are showing that you are a published author in essence. So it's not a book that you can copyright. This is simply for marketing purposes. It's a very inexpensive way to create your own book because writing and editing takes a huge amount of time when you put that into dollars. So I'm really, really happy to share that with you. And right now there's only one, but I will have some others in the very near future. And this is what it looks like. So this one is called A Breast Cancer Survivor's Guide to Recovery Through Movement, Taking Control. And just imagine your name there on the cover instead of mine. I will not let people overlap. So Frank, if you're doing it in Virginia Beach, John Friend can do it in West Virginia, but I'm not going to let somebody else that is in the Virginia Beach area have that same book. So I want you guys to maintain your autonomy. Hopefully that you'll appreciate that. And I already explained how this works. And then you're in control of the printing. I'll help you set it up. I'll tell you where you can print it, you know, the cheapest way to do it. And then you can order books on demand, however many you want. You can order a hardback, you can order a softback. There's all different ways to bind it. It's so awesome. I'm so excited for you guys. If you are not part of our private cancer exercise specialist Facebook group, here is the link. Please join. We share ideas, we share personal stories, we share, you know, happiness and tears and triumphs, clients, case studies, which is so important, you know, to continue to work through this with each other. If you guys have questions about a client, I am here to answer them for you. I will also talk about upcoming events, and any type of specials that are coming up will be posted there. And it's an opportunity for you to continue to learn. So, oh, you guys, see, I'm so technologically not advanced. Now I see like 15 people wrote me. So thank you, Janet. Thank you, Riaz. Thank you, Frank, Susan. Awesome. So at least I know you're hearing me. That makes me feel good. Otherwise, this would be a real disaster. Individual coaching, I don't need to talk about me, but you can read this if you want. It's also on the website. I'm going to help you streamline, help you narrow down your focus, help you figure out, if you don't already know the name of your business, a logo, strategies to help you market yourself, how to position yourself as an expert, how to get referrals, and how to create your own niche market. Sometimes you don't know the questions to ask, and God knows I've had many stumbling blocks and costly mistakes that I would love to help you avoid. And it was asked by me a couple months ago if I would make myself available. And I was traveling so much, I really don't have a lot of time, but I've devoted 10 hours a week to do individual coaching for anybody who wants to take advantage of that. So that is it for today. I am thrilled that you were able to join me today. For those of you who are not able to be here for the live webinar, this is recorded and I will post it. You will also, you should receive it automatically if you signed up for it. So I am going to take time now to answer any questions you might have. If you don't have any questions, have a fantastic afternoon or evening, and I look forward to hearing from you in the near future. Otherwise, I'm here, guys. I'm in the questions section, and I can actually see it now. So if you have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, talk to you soon. Have a great day. Okay, let's see. Stacy Vaughn is asking, where do we order lymphedema prevention kits? Go online, look up marketing tools. So just Google marketing tools, marketing products, and it's not going to be called a lymphedema prevention kit. Just look for coin purses, and you will, zippered coin purses, you will see a variety of different ones, and you want to order them empty. You probably will have to have a minimum, possibly 100 of them. So be prepared. You know, you're going to dump a little bit of money, but I guarantee you this is a great tool. Then you can go to Costco or whatever other discount shopping place and get bandages, get antibacterial wipes, and bacitracin. Fill them up on your own, and then hit me up if you want to ask more particulars. You can email me at cetiguru@gmail.com. All right, let's see. Graciela, you have a question here. Let me see what you say here. I'm interested in the book, but did not finish the certification. Am I a specialist? I'm specialist in lymphedema water exercises. So guys, you can start with the book at any time, even if you're not done with your coursework, because it's going to take a while for you to do it. I would not advocate marketing yourself as a cancer exercise specialist until you're done. You're on our directory, you know, people can check your credentials and that type of thing. But feel free to get going on it right away. Thank you, Janet. I'm glad you were able to join us, as well as everybody else. And reading this here, let's see, Colette, lymphedema kits. Sorry, it's hard to read this. It's really tiny. I will definitely be putting these together. Awesome. Let me know how that goes, Colette. A nutrition consultant combo to Susan. I think that's amazing. There are some specific nutrition programs out there for cancer, so I would suggest getting involved with one of those. Obviously, you want it to come from a credible organization, but combining nutrition along with our cancer exercise is awesome. You got to be really careful though. So let's talk about that individually. And I can tell you some of the pros and cons. I do some very generic nutritional consulting, and it depends kind of what certification you're talking about, because we're going into a gray area that is not our area of expertise. So it could be considered out of scope of practice if you're not a registered dietitian or nutritionist. So I'd need to know a little bit more about this, this title that you're talking about. So it seems that those are all of the questions, but I'm happy to answer your texts at 503-502-6776, your emails at empowersurvivor@earthlink.net, or feel free to write me and shout out on the Cancer Exercise Specialist Facebook page. So have an awesome day, guys. Thanks for being a part of this. And I hope you'll tune in for the Cancer Exercise Specialist webinar series that is free if you have purchased the coursework. And that starts in October.